Hello, friends, and welcome back to Too Many Minis. My name's Ossie. The long winter is over, and we finally got the new edition of the game of Middle-earth strategy battle game. I got my box. I've been speed assembling it, and I put a little video together reviewing my thoughts on the box and how I built it, and this little building guide if you want to kind of add some extra variety to your troops. Let's dig into the box. All the people who've got preview copies have already done their box openings and everything and unboxings, but I just thought we'd have a little look at what's in here. Some kind of interesting stuff. Got the new range ruler that snaps together and goes up to 24 inches. Don't know how useful that is, but you know, it rotates and folds down to a handy 13 inches, 12 and a half, I don't know. We got dice, and they're not white, but you're going to replace them with expensive dice, aren't you? Got the Battle of Edoras Scenarios and Profiles book with the lovely cover art and a quick reference guide. And this has got the assembly instructions in it, which means they're particularly high quality assembly instructions. They're not printed on the normal low quality paper there. They're top notch. And it shows you how to build your basic Rohan house. It's got a very small wound chart on the back. Here's a playmat. Grassy plains on one side. I think grassy plains on the other side. It's quite nice as these photo playmats go. And the rule book. Beautiful silhouette of the Fellowship crossing the mountains. Oh, look, a nice Rohan end papers for this. So not the regular full Middle-earth. Rohan end papers. It's very nice. And throughout the book, you've got a mixture of, Lord of the Rings film stills and then images from the new movie. Like here's another one from the new movie. It's really nice presentation. This is the nicest book yet. I mean, the last edition had the nicest books we'd had yet, and this is just a small step up, I would say. The amount of photography in here from the films is fantastic. Just have a flick. It's a really nice layout. Like, this is really, again, the nicest yet. And when you are selling rules in a world of free wargaming rules from your competitors, you need to make them nice. And this is a really nice book. This is a book that I'm going to enjoy looking through. I'm going to be going to this book for years to come, like I have done with my rule manuals from the previous edition. We're going to be going to this book all the time, and we take it with me in my bag to events and games. And the fact that it looks fantastic is going to give me a little bit of pleasure each time I use it. Awesome. I love this shot of Isengard. And again, an incredible picture of Orthanc. I love these map pages on the first page and the end papers. Fantastic presentation. Brilliant stuff. Whereas I'm just grabbing out the Hobbit book here. That has the much more normal map of the larger section of Middle-earth. More the Hobbit-y bit. And there's the Lonely Mountain. Again, just the presentation is quite beautiful. And yeah, just while I'm on the Hobbit book, I'll just say that the profile pages are super nicely laid out. We've got this little bordering, got the titles up at the top. Go from they're color coded by section. So there you go. Free Peoples, you're on the Free Peoples. Now you're on to Thorne's Company lists. Love it. Boo, Thranduil. I'll have a quick skim through the stuff that comes within plastic. You've got 2 Rohan house kits. They're on 2 sprues each. Pleased to have them. I think it's going having terrain in the box. But obviously these aren't new, these are existing ones. I've got one more in box. And I can't decide whether to do ruined, sort of flaming, ruined, burning houses, or whether to do a big kind of Meduseld hall, great hall sort of thing. Have to decide. So I've got quite a lot of Rohan stuff built already, but let's do some more. Then on to the minis themselves. This is General Targ and Wolf, and you can see they're proper modern Games Workshop multi-part kits with all the clever undercutting and hiding of mold lines and all that. I think they're going to go together amazing. The face there. Lovely base details. That little sword detail on the sword blade. Amazing. And you've got the Rohan heroes. Haleth and Hama. Pick out some of the details. The horse heads, shoulder pauldrons, sword hilts. This is very much the highest level of model production that we've seen for this game. Look at the helmets. You know, the little fine holding the reins, or a nice little fine bow with horse heads on the end of the bow. Next level. I paint a lot of, you know, AOS and 40k kits, and sometimes being a Middle-earth lover, it's a bit like, oh, I wish we could have some of this. Yes, the Plastic Heroes range has been great through the last edition, but I think this is really up on that top level. Like, they are too, but I mean, we're getting a lot of this here. It's a whole box of it. Look at the detailing on this. Woof. Lovely little swords. A stabby Roman sort of sword. Troops, we've got Rohan troops here. Oh, look at the armor on that. Lovely little plates. And there's quite a bit of variety, as you'd like to see with Rohan. They're not all the same. Wow, so many separate face plates and the arrowheads. Crazy detail. You know, the wood grain built into the shields. I think they're going to blend with the existing Rohan, but I mean, they are on another level. Oh, I love these horses on here. And look at the shield boss there. Isn't that incredible? Seriously dinky stuff. Beautiful detailing. Man, this is exciting. This is making me excited about Rohan. I've been excited about Dunland, but that's making me excited about Rohan. You get 2 of these to make up 24. And then here's the Dunland kit. And now this is options. This looks like a Warhammer Fantasy Battle kit, an old world kit. This is like proper options, proper modular. Arms and weapons separately. These raggedy dudes, man. These are some wild tribesmen right here. Some proper hicks from the hills. Lovely, like, arrows stuck in the ground there. Very Urukai-esque cleaver. More of a scimitar. Yeah, kind of motley collection of swords. Lovely bundled quiver there. Makeshift shields. These have the light shield designation in the new rules, which means you can shield with them, but they don't confer any kind of defense buff. So that guy's got a pineapple, like my daughter went off to school this morning. Flaming brands, which have a cool rule giving you more dominance, giving you more control over the objective. This guy's Twisting Firestarter right here. Look at that. Rest in peace, Keith Flint. That guy sits outside my tube station. And you've got to remember that these are 28mm. These are Middle-earth scale, so there's a small head. You know what I mean? If you're comparing that to a Space Marine head or a Stormcast Eternal head, this is small, but the level of detail, the furrowed brow, it's really small. For the people crying scale creep, not really, man. These look spot on to me. And you get a second one of them again to make 24 dudes. I think I'm going to do just that and make some of them up. Right, we've got the whole thing built here. We've got the Rohan side, we've got the Hill Tribe side. I'm actually going to be putting some of these guys as traitor Rohan, and they're going to be crossing the barrier in the middle. But I'll just do a little step through of the models built, because there's actually scope for quite a bit of converting and stuff. Now, Haleth, I built with a sword. He has the option for the kind of battle axe, which I didn't particularly like. And he has a spear option, but he doesn't have the spear option on his profile. So I decided that wasn't the best idea. That may be a mistake, and he may get the spear added on his profile, but I thought for now, not so good, and I can use those spears elsewhere. I also gave the helmeted heads because I think they're fantastic. And rather than the kind of pretty boy locks, I thought we'd go for these fantastic sculpted Rohan helms with so much detail on them. Hama has less options. I mean, you got the helmet choices again, and again I went for the helms, but he's with bow on foot and with the sword on his mount. But again, the detail is phenomenal. They are similar builds to, if you've built any of the character series models from the last edition since 2018, they're similar, along similar lines to that. Really clever sculpts. Then we've got the Rohan warriors. Now I'll show you them in pairs. This is the stock option for this guy. This is him with the spear arm cut down slightly from Haleth, one of the spear arms. So I made another spearman there. And obviously with the second one, I've switched the shield out for a different shield. They say specifically which shield to put on, but they're all interchangeable. So again, a bit of differentiation on the duplicate models. You can swap the shields. This is this nice kind of sword pointing guy, and for him I swapped in the other spear arm from Haleth to make a really nice spearman there. So again, I've got myself 2 extra spearmen. The normal one charging with a sword, and I've used Haleth's spare battle axe hand. So again, a bit of variety. The original one has the axe and that, and I've given him a wildman head. Now that goes on pretty easily. I've reposed his axe arm a little bit, and you can see that needed a bit of green stuff to tidy it up. But not a bad conversion. So just that's probably going to be one that counts as a traitor Rohan for me, because he's looking pretty traitorous and wild. Now onto the spear models. This is the stock build, and I have given him a sword. Again, I can't remember whose sword that is. It might just be a generic sword I chopped off. I think it's the sword taken from the one I gave a spear to. But the hand comes out a little bit big, but it works well. And also here you have the sword hilt, and there I've left the sword hilt off because he's got it in his hand. So again, a bit of variety in the model. Here's the Spearman original, and here is the same model. I didn't change this one. I love this pose. I always love more static pose, more sort of standing guard type poses. So 2 of them is fine by me. Again, here's a guy preparing, and this is basically the same. Again, varying the shield to make them a bit different, but that one doesn't need changing for me. I can have 2 of them happily. And again here, no real difference. Head, I've used a different head, that's what I've done. I've stuck a different head on, and again, need a little bit of green stuffing to make it fit, but that's all good. So on balance, I had 2 more spearmen made out of the hand weapon guys, but then I made one of the spearmen into a hand weapon guy. So I ended up with a +1 spears in general. The archers, I've done almost all stock. Identical pretty much. You have a slight difference of where you position the arms. A tiny bit, but basically identical. This one, it's a nice guy reaching for an arrow. I gave him, I think, Haleth's head, and in green stuffed the hair on to sort of match up. So he's a Rohan guy without his helmet on. And you can see he's pretty damn handsome. Almost looks like an elf. And for this great sort of shooting from the hip pose, 2 of them. No need to switch that up. Now onto the Dunland side, which I was more excited about, to be honest with you. We've had Rohan, but plastic Dunland is really something. This is a fantastic sculpt for General Targ. I think I might paint it a bit differently than the one in the movie with his kind of white hair. But the detail's incredible. Lovely detailing. There he is on foot. There he is mounted, having a good shout on his kind of destrier, or whatever kind of horse that is. Quite a big one. Wolf with his scar face. Can we get him in focus? Yeah, we can. Nice model. Mine had a bit of the end of his scabbard knocked off, which is a shame, but I might be able to green stuff a bit onto that. I don't know. I might just leave it. Whatever. Hopefully he's normally on his horse anyway, and that has a complete scabbard. Nothing too unusual about them. They just are very good miniatures, very cleverly made. I think this is the one where, is this the one? One of these horse heads was made of 3 parts, and not this one, but like, so the clever undercuts and stuff are just on another level, you know. So there's a mold line, you know, there's a join line, but mostly they're hidden. You know, they're hidden under this. It's clever stuff, really clever stuff. Top-notch modern plastics. Now let's go through the Wildmen. Now the Wildmen are probably the best example of these being fiddly kits to assemble. Now I love it. I love assembling minis, bang into it. But if you don't like it, you're probably really not going to enjoy this, because these are fiddly models. So for me, they're some of the best to build, but they are challenging. This is not a kid-friendly starter set. I'll put that out there. This is the one I built stock. Actually, they're kind of both. This one's had a head swap, and I've had to give him the back of his head a bit. But just to produce 2 different ones. This is a guy with the bare minimum with no upgrades. This one has the flaming brand and the shield. Flaming brand and shield. flaming brand and shield, and a head swap. Fit all right, that head, not too much drama. The face is like a separate part. Some of the faces will fit on each other, some won't. So they're different enough, those two, even though they're the same sculpt. Here's the standard one, and that's that other face. They swapped faces with each other, so they're pretty similar, but slightly different, and use a different flaming brand, so they're not quite the same. Here's this guy with a pineapple, wearing his hair like my kids, and here's the version with the big chopper. Look at that. So that's the hand weapon, guys. Then we've got the spear or two-handed weapon ones, and you could convert these to something else, I guess, but they really are meant to be two-handed or spear, and each one you have the option to do either. And you can switch these around. They're pretty much interchangeable, the weapons. So here's a guy built stock, and here's a guy with a Rohan helmet. So, you know, he's picked one up on the battlefield, and he's going to use it because it would be wasteful not to. And he's got the two-hander. I don't know how these are going to be in game, but I'm happy to build them with a variety. I'll probably get more of these. Pretty stock, these. Look, just with the weapon change. Really nice spear, this. Again, pretty straightforward. One with the spear and one with the two-hander. And same again with this guy with a bit of a Nutkin's hairdo. One two-hander and one spear. This lovely one. Again, a little bit of variety in how you pose the arms. They might need a little bit of green stuff to cover it up because they do fit into the sockets very specifically. And he's got his arrows on the floor. Anyway, there's enough differentiation there. This guy gave the pointing hand from another model. He's coming up. He's coming next, the pointy one. This hand is attached to the back of the quiver, so maybe I need to do something with that, but I think I might just leave it like that. I don't know. Is it just me, or is it another face based on Adam Troke? This is the original pointy guy, running and pointing. Be careful when running and pointing. This one I gave him is sword out. So again, a bit of green stuff, but basically sword arm working just fine on there. And finally, this guy, didn't do anything with him. The same. Not a very easily switchable sculpt. So we'll leave it like that. These are thin. You know, that you're cutting when you're clipping these from the sprue, you've got to be careful with them. Don't put undue pressure on them. You know, if you're filing off the little nubs that are left on, just be gentle. It really is top level building this, and I love it. But there's plenty you can do wrong on these. Especially for Middle Earth, where we have a history of very simple sort of two-part plastic kits, or even single piece plastics from 20 years ago. These are proper modern multi-part but single pose models, and they are harder than your Age of Sigmar or your 40k to build because they're at a smaller scale. So these parts are small. You know what I mean? A weapon with a hand attached to it is a small piece. So watch out for that. For me, I love it. I'm super into it. But I do think it really is a proper bit of building you've got to do here. There was quite a lot of leftover weapon parts, so I managed to make a Dunland objective marker, little weapon stash for them with some shields, the weapons there. This is a bit of the fence which comes with the Rohan house in the kit. So that's ready to go. And I did a Rohan one. I green stuffed up a couple of shields. If you try doing this with some blue stuff and green stuff, make sure you press into the shield boss in the middle, because I didn't quite get the detail on that. You need to put a little nobule of that in. Some helmets, that one's hollowed out. That one is the spare one that comes off one of the hero bases. And the sword hilts I've given rough blades to and stuck them in. So that's a nice little objective marker for my Rohan guys. My objective marker collection. And one of the things I love most about the new edition is that objective markers are now officially 3D objects. You can't stop on them. Yes, a war beast can go over them, but nothing else can. Siege engine can't be put on top of them. You can't overlap with them. You can move over them, but you can't stop on them. So that means we can have proper 3D 25mm objectives without anyone complaining and having to replace them with tokens, which for me helps with immersion, and it's a beautiful little thing of the hobby. They don't make any of these. We make them ourselves, and I love that. They're one of my favourite things. When we've had events, you know, in London, we've often had best objective markers prizes and that kind of thing, just to encourage the hobby side of it, because it really adds something. You may see they've all got my standard polyfiller base, bit of watered down polyfiller, you know, all-purpose filler, and that's nice and dry, and that will dry brush up and be a nice fine earth. Probably have grass tufts on top of it. They're not in the snow, it's just polyfiller. So they're ready to prime. While I was at it, I also did a old Rohan banner bearer to be my traitor Rohan banner. I think he's the one with the least detail printed on. He's got like a star type thing, so he should work nicely for that. And I also used this old Dunlanding chieftain. He's going to run as a, I think they're called Hill Tribesman chieftain. He's a bit over armored for the profile, but he has got the two-handed weapon, so he'll do for now until they hopefully release a model for that. I also blue stuffed and green stuffed a handful of shields. I always like to have them for. I may stick some of these on the bases afterwards for a bit of detailing. But because these are such crisp plastics, they really cast up well. That's a really nice. All the wood grain is there, so I recommend that. Get some Oyamaru, do some casting. I've got a video on that, I think. Yep, here. So that's it all put together. I think it's a fantastic box. As I've said in the assembly, I think it's a fiddly box of quality hobbying, you know what I mean, of quality building, not a baby steps starter box with push fit minis. But I think that reflects probably the grown-up profile of the Middle-earth gamer, and that works just fine. I think it's the highest quality stuff we've had. It's two good forces to pit against each other. The production on the books is incredible, impeccable, the best yet. They smell good. This is a good addition of the game. As I finish this video, my box with Thorn, Frecker, and Helm has just turned up from Lenton. So I'll probably do a video on them now. It's exciting times. We've seen the new model for Hera, Bride of Death, and we've seen the foot and mounted Hera model, which I think is fantastic. And also I think it's called the Bride of Death model, comes with 2 shield options. I've seen the movie. I liked it a lot. So that's happy days. I'll be going to see it again this week. Christmas is coming on, so time gets short, but I'm loving. I've been painting up General Targ on stream on Saturday, and I've got some more Wild Men in progress. I did like a one little test model, so I'll put a photo up of. Just happy to get cracking on with these, really. We've got our slow grow coming up in London in January, which I'm doing the Usurpers of Edoras list for. So keen to get into these models and get them on the table. I've also shot a new edition battle report, which I'll put up ASAP. And yeah, let me know how you're feeling about the new edition. Whether you like the movie, don't put any spoilers for the people that are a bit slow to watch things in the comments. I'm really hyped for the game. My other gaming things have gone kind of on the back burner right now. It's a good time for Middle-earth. Thank you for watching, liking, sharing, subscribing, all that jazz, joining the Discord and getting in the conversation. There's more and more people sharing their hobby over there, and it's a good bunch. We stream mostly Thursdays. That may get a bit interrupted over Christmas because it's Boxing Day. But yeah, always nice to have you. Thanks very much. I'll see you next time. Bye.